I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here writing something like this, but after everything that's happened, I guess I need to get it all out. My name's Dave, and I've been married to Lisa for about 5 years now. We were one of those couples people looked at and said, yeah, that's what real love looks like. Or at least that's what I thought. She was my everything, beautiful, smart, a little bitchy sometimes, but I loved her for it. We had plans, a future I thought was solid. Then last weekend, everything changed. It started with small things. Lisa's been acting kinda distant lately, avoiding me more than usual. She'd come home late from work, say she was stressed or working on a big project. No big deal, right? I figured maybe she was just under a lot of pressure. But then I started noticing her phone more, hiding it when she thought I wasn't looking. She'd get defensive if I tried to look at her messages, like they were some secret code I wasn't supposed to see. And there were little things. Her perfume smelled different sometimes, or her phone battery would suddenly die when I asked to see her texts. One night I was working late in the living room when I saw something that made my stomach turn. I noticed her laptop open and a folder that caught my eye. It was labeled photos, but it wasn't just vacation pictures or normal stuff. There were pictures of her, but they weren't the kind you take with your spouse. They were, well, provocative. And not just that, they were with a guy I didn't recognize. The guy was obviously someone from her work, maybe her best friend, Mark. The photos weren't just innocent. They were intimate enough that I felt sick just looking at them. I never imagined Lisa could cheat, especially not with her best friend's guy. I went cold. I kept staring at the screen, trying to process how I hadn't seen this coming. I didn't want to believe it, but there it was, clear as day. They'd been sleeping together probably for a while, and the worst part, I remembered that Mark had been around a lot lately, helping her with things, hanging out, acting like he was just her friend. But clearly, there was something more going on behind the scenes. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I knew I had to find out more. I decided I'd confront her, but I didn't know how she'd react. Would she lie her way out of it? Would she gaslight me? That bitch always had a way of spinning the story to make herself look like the victim. That night I couldn't sleep. My mind kept racing. I kept asking myself how long she'd been doing this, whether she'd been lying about everything, the perfect marriage, the future we'd planned. Was I just a fool for trusting her? I mean, she's a master at manipulation. Lisa's the kind of woman who can look you in the eye and deny the sky is blue if it suited her. And now, I was starting to realize I'd been blind to her lies all along. I thought I knew her, but maybe I never really did. Maybe all of it was just a fantasy I was clinging to. In the morning, I woke up with a pounding head, clutching her phone, hoping maybe I'd find some more clues. I wasn't proud of it, but I needed to know the truth. I scrolled through her messages and found a few texts that seemed more than friendly. Things like "can't wait to see you tonight" or "miss you already." And there was one from Mark himself, something about meeting up at her place later that night, just the two of them. That was the final nail. I knew I had to confront her. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay, not anymore. The betrayal hit me hard. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. How long had this been going on? Was I just a fool, a pawn in her game? I took a deep breath, grabbed her phone, and waited for her to come home from work. When she finally walked through the door, I could see the smirk on her face, that bitchy little expression she always had when she thought she was getting her way. I looked her in the eyes and I knew, I just knew. I was about to find out if the woman I loved had been lying to me this whole time, and I was ready for whatever was coming next. Lisa walked in like she owned the place, shoulders back, that smug look on her face as if she hadn't just been caught in the act. I was already boiling inside, my fists clenched, my mind racing with rage, betrayal, and heartbreak. She saw the look on my face and immediately started with her usual attitude. "What's wrong, Dave? You look like you've seen a ghost. Relax, will you?" I didn't hold back. I pulled out her phone and placed it on the table in front of her. "You tell me," I said coldly. "Who is Mark? Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Or were you just waiting until you were ready to tell me you've been sleeping with your best friend's boyfriend?" Her eyes widened for a split second, then she reached out, trying to snatch her phone away. "Don't be ridiculous," she snapped. "You're just jealous. You're overreacting as usual. Mark's just a friend. We've been talking about work stuff. It's not what you think." I shook my head. Don't lie to me. I saw the pictures, Lisa. I saw the way you looked in them, the way you let him touch you. How long has this been going on? Weeks, months. She scoffed, crossing her arms, her face turning bitchy and defensive. Honestly, Dave, you're overreacting. Maybe you're just paranoid because I've been busy at work, or maybe you're jealous because I've got a life outside of you. Believe it or not, I don't exist just for your convenience. I felt my stomach churn. You're full of shit. You've been lying to my face this whole time. The late nights, the secret phone calls, the way you act like you're hiding something. Then I find the damn folder with the photos of you and Mark. How else was I supposed to interpret that? She rolled her eyes and scoffed again. Oh, please, those pictures, they're nothing, just some stupid photos for fun to spice things up. You know how women do that sometimes. It doesn't mean anything. You're making a huge deal out of nothing. My blood boiled. Nothing, nothing. You think I'm stupid, Lisa. You've been cheating on me with your best friend's boyfriend and you expect me to just accept it because you say it's nothing. Do you even hear yourself? Or are you just that good at lying? Her face twisted into a sneer. You don't know what you're talking about. I've been stressed. I've been overwhelmed. And honestly, I don't owe you any explanations. Maybe I'm tired of pretending everything's perfect when it's not. Maybe I deserve some happiness too. That was the moment I saw her true colors. The bitchy, manipulative side she kept hidden. She wasn't sorry. She was angry that I'd caught her, but she didn't regret what she'd done. Instead, she was trying to turn it around on me, make me the bad guy because I dared to confront her. The room got silent for a moment, but inside I felt everything breaking apart. My trust, my love, my sense of who she was, everything was crumbling. I looked at her knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. The woman I thought I knew had been lying from the start. The woman I loved had been sleeping with her best friend's guy, probably behind my back for months. And the worst part, she was still trying to convince me it was all just some stupid joke, some spice to her dull life. I didn't know what to say. I just stared at her, feeling like I didn't even recognize the woman standing in front of me. Yes, she was my wife, but she might as well have been a stranger. How could I have loved someone so much, only to find out she'd been lying to my face the entire time? I wanted to scream, to cry, to do something, anything. But all I could do was sit there, stunned and betrayed. And right then, I realized I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. The trust was gone and my heart was shattered. I had to decide what to do next, but deep down, I already knew. I wasn't staying with her, not after this. The woman I'd built my life with had turned out to be a lie, and I knew I'd have to face the fallout, no matter how painful it was. Her face kept that defiant, bitchy smirk even as I laid everything out. Her betrayal, the photos, the lies. She looked at me like I was some fool who just needed to be told how crazy he was. That arrogance made me angrier. I've never been the type to lose my temper easily, but right then, I felt like I was about to explode. You think you can just lie your way out of this? You cheated on me, Lisa, I said through gritted teeth, with your best friend's boyfriend, and you've been hiding it for who knows how long. I don't even recognize the woman I married anymore. She looked at me, her eyes narrowing like I was the one in the wrong. Oh, come on, Dave. You're overreacting. This is just a stupid fling. It's not a big deal. Mark's just a guy, and honestly, I was bored. You work all the time, and I needed some excitement. It's not like I was planning to leave you or anything. That was the moment I realized she was trying to justify it, spin it, make me feel guilty for catching her. Like I was the crazy one for being upset about her sleeping with her best friend's boyfriend. It made me sick. I felt a surge of disgust and anger welling up, but I kept my voice steady. A stupid fling. You're seriously telling me it's nothing? That you're just bored, so you decided to cheat, lie, and embarrass me? Do you even hear yourself? She rolled her eyes and scoffed again. You're so dramatic. Maybe I just wanted to feel alive again. Maybe I needed to remind myself that I'm still desirable. And honestly, I don't care if you're mad. I'm not going to keep pretending I'm happy when I'm not. I was starting to realize the extent of her selfishness. She didn't care about us, about the marriage, about how much she was hurting me. She only cared about what made her feel better. That's how she always was. Bitchy, manipulative, and always finding ways to turn things around so she looked like the victim. I stood up, feeling the weight of everything crashing down on me. You're not the woman I married, I said quietly but firmly. And I don't know who you are anymore. I don't know if I ever really knew you or if I was just fooling myself into thinking this was real." Her eyes flickered for a second, maybe surprised that I wasn't begging her to stay or crying for her to change. But then that same bitchy smirk returned. "Whatever, Dave. Do what you want. I'm done explaining myself. I'll be out of here soon enough, probably tonight. You're better off without me." That was the final straw. I looked at her, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut all over again. The woman I'd loved, trusted, and built a future with had just dismissed everything we had with a few harsh words and a sneer. I couldn't believe I'd been blind for so long, convinced she was the perfect wife. Turns out, she was just a master manipulator, and I was the fool she played. I didn't say anything else. I just turned my back, feeling numb, and started packing her things. I needed space, time to breathe, and to process how I'd been played this whole time. As I packed, I kept thinking about everything, every moment we shared, every lie she told, and how she thought she could just walk out of my life like this. But inside, I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to let her get away with it. Not without consequences. I didn't know exactly what I'd do yet, but I knew I'd get my revenge one way or another. I had to. That woman had stolen my trust and shattered my heart, and I wasn't going to let her walk away clean. Not without her facing what she truly was, a liar and a cheat. After I finished packing her bags and she finally decided to leave, I just stood there in the empty apartment feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. The silence was deafening. I kept replaying everything she said, everything she did, trying to find some shred of the woman I thought I knew. But all I saw was a stranger, someone selfish, manipulative, and willing to destroy everything we built just for a fleeting thrill. I didn't want her to walk out and think she'd won. I knew I needed to do something, but I was pretty damn angry. So angry I couldn't think straight. I wanted her to feel the pain, the betrayal, and the loss. I wanted her to realize what she threw away, what she lost because of her own selfishness. I wasn't ready to forgive her, not yet. The trust was shattered, and I was left with nothing but a hollow feeling inside. That night I stayed up, scrolling through her social media and her messages, trying to piece together how long she'd been lying to me. That's when I stumbled across a message from Mark that really made my blood boil. It was a simple "can't wait to see you tonight," followed by a heart emoji. Nothing explicit, but enough. The way they talked, the timing, it all pointed to the affair going on for longer than I'd thought. It was like a punch to the gut every time I saw some new detail. I started digging deeper, and that's when I found the pictures. The intimate ones I'd seen on her laptop. She'd taken them during a secret weekend with Mark. There were others too, screenshots, messages, and even some of her private texts where she said she was done pretending and wanted to be with someone who actually cared about her. That last part cut deep. I'd been nothing but loyal, working my ass off to give us a good life, and meanwhile she was out there fucking her best friend's boyfriend. She'd lied to me about everything. Said she was stressed, tired, busy, yet she was sneaking around behind my back with Mark. I felt like such a damn fool. How long had I been deceived? How long had she been pretending to be the perfect wife? And the worst part, I was starting to question everything. Did I even know her at all? Were those happy moments real or just a mask she wore to hide her betrayal? I couldn't sleep that night. My mind was racing, my stomach in knots. I kept thinking about the future, what I was going to do, how I was going to face her after this. I'd always believed in honesty, in loyalty, in building something real. And now all of that seemed like a joke. I started planning my next move. I knew I couldn't stay here, not like this. I had to get out, but I also wanted to make her hurt. She'd taken enough from me already, but I wanted her to feel the sting of betrayal, just a fraction of what I felt. The next morning, I woke up with a plan. I decided to confront her one last time, not to beg or plead, but to make her see what she'd lost. I wasn't going to let her walk away thinking she'd won. She messed up badly, and I wanted her to know exactly how much she'd hurt me. I wanted her to understand that I wasn't just some fool she could manipulate anymore. So I set my mind to it, knowing that this was the beginning of a new chapter, one where I finally took control. I reached out to her again, texted her that I wanted to talk. When she called, I told her I knew everything about the affair, the pictures, the messages. Her reaction was both infuriating and predictable. She lied again, insisting she didn't do anything wrong, that I was just overreacting because I was insecure, that she loved me, that it was just a mistake. But I wasn't buying it. I told her I was done trusting her, done pretending that this was just a moment of weakness. I said I wanted her out of my life for good. She yelled, called me all sorts of names, told me I was controlling, insecure, jealous. But I didn't care. All I cared about was finally taking back control of my life after being blindsided for so long. I told her I was filing for divorce, and she hung up on me. Honestly, I felt a strange mix of relief and devastation. I knew I'd lost her, but I also knew I was finally free from the lies and the betrayal. Now I'm living with this ache, this emptiness. The trust I had in her is shattered beyond repair. I keep asking myself how I got here, how I could have been so blind. But I also know one thing: no matter how much it hurts, I'll survive this. And I'll come out stronger. Because I learned that sometimes the person you love the most can turn out to be the biggest liar. And no matter how much you want things to be different, you have to face the truth and move on. The days that followed were a blur of pain, anger, and confusion. I threw myself into work, pretending to be fine, but inside I was a mess. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, Lisa's bitchy smirk, the photos, the lies. It was like a dark cloud hanging over me, refusing to lift. I kept replaying the last conversation, the look in her eyes when she realized she wasn't going to manipulate her way out of it, and the way she hung up, thinking she'd won. I'd never felt so betrayed in my life. The woman I'd trusted with everything had been sleeping with her best friend's boyfriend behind my back, and she'd lied about everything. Honestly, I never thought she was capable of such cold, calculated deception. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I'd been so blind to her true nature. I thought I knew her, but I didn't even know who she really was. I knew I had to confront the situation head-on, even if it hurt like hell. I started by removing her stuff from the apartment, packing it in boxes, and putting it in storage. I didn't want to see her things every day, reminding me of what I'd lost. The whole process was like peeling off a scab, painful but necessary. I also reached out to some friends for support, not because I wanted to talk about her, but because I needed someone to tell me I wasn't losing my mind, that I wasn't crazy for feeling this way. Then I began to think about my options. Was I really going to divorce her? Part of me knew I had to, but another part hesitated. I'd invested so much, built so much with her. And yet, deep down, I knew staying with her would only mean more lies, more betrayal. I realized I couldn't keep pretending that everything was okay. I couldn't keep looking at myself in the mirror and seeing a man who had been duped by his own wife. One night, I took a long walk to clear my head. The cold wind stung my face, but it also made me think clearer. I thought about her bitchy attitude, the way she dismissed my concerns, and how she kept trying to spin the story to make herself look innocent. That's when it hit me. She'd never loved me. Not really. She loved the idea of us, maybe, or the life we had, but not me. And that realization cut even deeper. Love, I learned, isn't just about loyalty or trust. It's about respect. And Lisa had lost both long ago. Despite all this, I knew I had to do something more than just get rid of her stuff and file for divorce. I wanted her to regret what she'd done. I wanted her to see that she lost someone who truly cared about her, someone who gave her everything and got nothing but lies in return. I decided I'd take some steps to make her feel the pain she caused me. Not in a childish way, but enough to make her understand the gravity of her betrayal. She thought she was clever, that she could just walk out and leave me broken. But I was going to show her that she was wrong. I started by gathering evidence, the photos, the messages, everything that proved she'd been unfaithful. I wasn't planning to use it to hurt her, but to remind her that her lies had consequences. I wanted her to know I wasn't some fool to be played. I'd learned a hard lesson. The person you trust the most can turn out to be the biggest liar. And if she thought she could ruin me and walk away, she was dead wrong. In the back of my mind, I kept wondering who I was now. Was I still the same man she married, or was I someone else, scarred forever by her betrayal? Honestly, I didn't know. But I knew I'd survive. I had to. For myself, for the future I still hoped to build. I couldn't let her destroy me completely. I'd find a way to move past this, even if it took years. Because what I learned from all this is that sometimes love isn't enough. And the bravest thing you can do is walk away when someone you trusted has turned out to be a lie. Now, after all the pain and anger have simmered down, I find myself in a strange kind of peace, though it's far from easy. I still ask myself how I let it get this far, how I was so blind to her lies. But at the same time, I know I've gained something in the process: clarity. Lisa wasn't the woman I thought she was. She was never truly mine, not in the way I believed. She was just good at hiding who she really was until it all exploded. Looking back, I realized that her betrayal, as painful as it was, forced me to confront truths I'd been avoiding for years. About myself, about love, about trust. I learned that sometimes the hardest thing is walking away from someone you still love, because love isn't just about feelings, it's about respect, honesty, loyalty. And if those things are gone, then what's left are just memories and regrets. I've started rebuilding my life, slow but steady. I've learned to trust myself again, to listen to my instincts. I've cut out the toxicity, the lies, the manipulations. It's not easy, and some nights are still hard, but I remind myself that I deserve better. I deserve someone who respects me, who values honesty, and who wouldn't play games behind my back. That's what I'm holding on to now: hope for a future where I don't have to question everything, where love is genuine. To anyone out there going through something similar, I'll say this: trust your gut. Don't ignore the signs, no matter how small. And never stay in a situation where you're being lied to or taken for granted. It hurts now, but healing is possible. You're stronger than you think. And sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do. Because in the end, you'll find that your worth isn't defined by someone else's lies. It's about how you pick yourself up and move forward, better, wiser, and ready to find real love again.